Vicki Hogarth, and welcome to Southwest Magazine. Paddlefest Music and Nature Festival has become one of the signature signs of spring in St. Andrews. The 4-day festival takes place May 14th to 17th this year and brings together music, art, and outdoor adventure. From concerts on the main stage and the famous Wharf-bound trail run to outdoor yoga and a farmer's market, Paddlefest celebrates both creativity and the connection between people and the natural world. Joining me today for a preview of Paddlefest 2026 are creative director Luke Macdonald and activities director Dani Deonarine, who are both co-chairs of the festival. Thank you both for coming in and sitting down with me today. I know we do this almost every year. We get a preview of what takes place at Paddlefest. Always there's new things on the roster. But Luke, just to kick things off, tell us a bit about the history of the festival and how long it's been in St. Andrews and how it's evolved over the years.
So this year we're actually celebrating 30 years of Paddlefest. And it kind of happened a little bit before that, but it didn't really have a name. It wasn't kind of quite the same. So this year is kind of a celebration of 30 years of that combination, like you said, of music, of nature, of celebrating those two pillars of our society, in my opinion. So yeah, it really started with Bruce Smith and Seascape Kayak Tours. And they would do kind of a group paddle. It was kind of around Earth Day, on Earth Day, around Earth Day every year, do a group paddle, do a beach cleanup, maybe of Navy Island, do a barbecue, and then maybe end the day with a jam session. And that jam session later would happen at Salty Towers, and Jamie Steele would get involved. And from there, of course, it just kind of grew and grew into this celebration of St. Andrews.
I think everyone in Atlantic Canada who's into music knows Jamie Steele. He's quite an icon, but in so many ways he's been passing this torch over the years to you both. What was that transition like, how you've become both the co-chairs of this incredible festival?
Yeah, I mean, I consider Jamie a mentor so much. You know, he's instilled music in this town so much over the time that he's been here, through Salty Towers and concerts and Paddlefest and everything. You know, and when he was ready to kind of move aside, it was actually Kevin Simmons and Stacey McLean took it on for a little bit, and they did a great job kind of building it, and they were the ones that actually started the main stage, the tent in Town Square. In 2010, I believe, was the first year of that, and that kind of took this festival to another level, able to bring in some larger scale artists and really kind of make it a big, you know, a big scale event downtown, but also always incorporating local venues and paddling and events, and really just making it, you know, the town, taking over the town with music and events.
And it really is for those of us who live here. It kicks off really the summer season in St. Andrews, which so much of that has to do with being outside. When it comes to this year's lineup, we're going to talk about music very soon, but we may as well, Dani, start by talking a little bit about what's great to do outside, since this is really the weekend that so many of us start really changing our clothes to the summer clothes and we're ready for the season.
Absolutely. I think I'm in the same boat as you, bringing out all those lovely spring rain jackets and making sure you're all prepped up. And I think we've got a fantastic lineup of activities to spring you into that great season. I'm really looking forward to a couple of new activities that we have this year. So ones like Breathwork by Bean with Christine Wickner. She's putting on a fantastic breathwork and art integration workshop at Drew Haven on the Thursday. Really looking forward to events that we've had, though, running for, you know, since the start of the festival, things like the annual beach cleanup. So that's going to be going on again at Minister's Island with the Fundy Baykeeper, so Matt Abbott. He's going to be involved along with the Conservation Council of New Brunswick and the St. Andrews Scouts. So really looking forward to events like those that bring in our community partners. And I think, you know, speaking to that question of what have we really learned from the founders like Jamie and Bruce, and I think it really is that bringing in the community, getting everyone excited and involved to be outside, and really looking forward to that season.
Because you are someone many people would recognize as well. I think if anyone's done whale tours in the St. Andrews area. They know you and your background. So you tell people a little bit about what you studied and why, to me, you are just this incredible person to take over the activities side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I discovered my love of St. Andrews through marine biology. So I first came to town doing a field course at the Huntsman Marine Science Center. It was fantastic, 6 weeks, a great way to, I think, a crash course into the town. I remember spending quite a lot of time on Water Street and on the wharf, and really got to see the bay a lot on the Fundy Spray, the boat that they have. And from there, I spent time on Grand Manan working for the Grand Manan Whale and Seabird Station. And that summer I really spent, good 14 hours a day on a boat and really fell in love with the area. And that's really what's pushed me now to want to provide events that are free and low barrier, low cost for folks to get involved and feel that love and that passion that maybe they haven't had the skills or even just the time to learn, how to paddle a canoe. Well, we've got, the big paddle a canoe session with Canoe Kayak New Brunswick, where you can go out with a couple of your friends, learn skills from a certified Canada paddle instructor, Ian Smith, who is just also a fantastic outdoorsman, great person to learn from. And then you can take those skills with you through the summertime as you're enjoying our beautiful area, because there's so many great places to paddle and be on the water.
And I know that there are some people that specifically come for one big outdoor event, which is the Wharf-bound trail run. I know friends that travel in just to do that part of it, even before figuring out what the concert lineup is. They're ready to run in this. So tell us a little bit about why this run has become so iconic and really shows off our region at the same time.
Absolutely. I mean, I can't think of a lot of runs where you're actually on the ocean floor. I think that's one of the big draws of it, seeing a new perspective of the island and of the peninsula. And I think getting that view of Minister's Island, getting a bit of a challenge too, I think. I think if you're into trail running, you're already somebody who likes it maybe off the pavement. And I think the ocean floor, adding the seaweed, adding the tides, adding that little bit of extra, shall we say, difficulty, is something that a lot of folks who really want to get their blood pumping look forward to every year.
Mm-hmm. And I would think too that having the beach cleanup over there and realizing you can only get over there certain times a day depending on the tide schedule adds another element to showcase the highest tides in the world to people who might not be aware of that aspect of our life here in Atlantic Canada.
Absolutely. It's one thing that you can, stand on the shore and actually watch the tide go out. I say it's much more interesting than watching paint dry, like I promise. You can actually watch it move. And, with that connection, I think that we all have of, the tides are just part of everyday life. I think everyone also has that connection and that want of wanting to be a steward and wanting to be more involved with the water. And I think just having people go out in an event like the beach cleanup, where you're getting to walk the beach, getting to see it from a different perspective, getting to actually be out on the sand and see what it looks like from picking up those lobster bands that sometimes wash ashore and other bits and getting that community connection, I think, is just fantastic.
I think the coolest thing about St. Andrews is that since we're on a peninsula, you pretty much see the water whether you intend to or not. And that makes for the main stage. It's right there in Market Square where you've got the wharf, you've got the ocean. You really, even if you're not here for the outdoor activities, you're getting some of it no matter what. I love hearing about the headliners to start with, but I also want to hear about some of the maybe lesser known right now bands and artists who are coming. But let's talk about some of the main stage events and the big draws.
Sure. Yeah, so as you said, we do have the Wharf-bound main stage in Market Square named for the run and of course for the beer at St. Andrews Brewing, which are one of our title sponsors. And it's been really great, over the last decade plus to have that main stage right in the square, and we have it so that on a nice day we can open the back and you can see the wharf and the St. Andrews Harbor, and that makes it pretty special venue for bands to play. And this year, we're lucky enough. We're a small festival, but we're lucky enough to get some headlining acts coming from across Canada every year. This year that includes Yukon Blonde, who are a really successful band from BC that have toured across Canada and North America for 15 plus years, and really successful band. But I think they're an example of a band that are going to really appreciate the the kind of intimate, unique venue of the main stage. So there'll be a really fun show on Saturday night. Friday night we have Adam Baldwin and the Jenny Wren, who are ECMA nominated artist. Adam's a really great songwriter. Was recently on tour opening for Blue Rodeo, and he actually has a movie out called Little Lorraine that's in theaters now across Canada that's based on one of his songs. So he's really had a really successful career, and he's going to perform on Friday night at the main stage. So those are kind of our two big headliners, but then over 40 other artists playing throughout the weekend. Some really incredible artists from across Canada of various genres and styles, and so everything from Ben Kaplan, who's a very successful performer, is playing Sunday at the main stage. Gina Burgess, who's an incredible violinist that has a band, and she actually incorporates some Inuit throat singing into the band, so it's a really unique combination of kind of Celtic and Inuit throat singing. So that's going to be a really interesting set.
I should bring up a person that we've actually had come in here, because he fits in nice tie with the Wharfbound Trail Run, the Wharfbound main stage, which is Jacob Rose,
yes,
who ties into the brewery as well, but has this incredible song called Wharfbound as well. But he's a local artist that has an opportunity to play a big festival such as this. You're also giving artists like Clara Blanchard, who must be 19. She is second year university, I think, finishing from St. Andrews. Incredible artist, but to be that age and have this opportunity, how did that connection come about? Do you ask her? Does she apply?
Yeah, no, I mean, a big part of the programming is we love to do some local programming, and that's been really great. We've been able to do a free community stage over the last few years. And this year it'll be at the Anglican Church Hall on Saturday and Sunday, so completely free, family-friendly programming. And a lot of those artists that are performing there are local artists like Clara. So Clara and a couple other young songwriters from New Brunswick, Evan Cooper and Isabel Soderman, are going to do an emerging songwriter circle. And there are great examples of the next generation of musicians, and Paddlefest has always kind of been about that too, is encouraging the next generation of artists and showcasing emerging artists, up and coming artists from New Brunswick and the Maritimes. It's obviously a big passion for me is the music industry in New Brunswick, and keeping it going and nurturing that next generation of artists is really important. So like you said, that's Claire's a great example, and Jacob has just been doing great things with his songwriting, working with some really talented songwriters, Chris Kirby among others, to record a new album, which I think is coming out later this year. And then we have Ryan LeBlanc, who doesn't perform much anymore, but he's going to do a set at the community stage. Quite a legend
around this neck of the woods.
Absolutely. Bob Edwards from Honeybeans is doing the set. Some of the students from SGA are going to do a few songs as well. So lots of local programming and community programming going on top of the headliners and all the artists coming from across Canada.
And that's one thing I love in this show. I mean, I want to express my appreciation for this as someone who's from this part of the world to you, as I hope that everyone who comes to Paddlefest or knows about it also appreciates the opportunity that you create having this festival here for these young artists and giving them this stage time, because I think it is so important for the evolution of their career to have those opportunities, but to have them in a place that they're from, and to have the encouragement and mentorship that you bring with it, because you do this all year as well, Luke. So it's worthy of a shout out to you right now, to thank you for that mentorship to these young artists, because it really does help them go on a path forward to big things, but it starts right here. Can you talk a little bit about the other work you do throughout the year, sometimes with Jamie still, and bringing music to this area, but also working with artists from this area to make sure they have the opportunity to be on stage?
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's always been, like I said, very important to me. And I learned that from people like Jamie Steele and Sean Corey, who was my teacher at SJDA and started a Battle of the Bands at the school. You know, for again, like I said, a small community, we have so much art and music going on, which is really, really special, and not always the case in smaller communities. So that's been something that, you know, I've been thankful to hopefully be a part of nurturing that next generation and keeping it going in St. Andrews the way that, you know, Jamie inspired me and Sean Corey inspired me and you know, Ryan and all these people that were performing around St. Andrews as I was growing up here. It's really great to see, really great to see all those artists still here and nurturing the next generation. And Jamie and I do a concert series throughout the year at the Huntsman Marine Science Center, a mix of artists from across the East Coast, showcasing them. And Jamie does, you know, shows on Minister's Island, and we do different events throughout the year and really just try and highlight, you know, both artists from away, but also artists from right here in Charlotte County and St. Andrews.
I'm giving Clara Blanchard a big shout out because I think she's fabulous, and you've given her other opportunities throughout the years to showcase what an incredible talent she has. So it'll be neat to catch her shows. That's one of the ones I am determined to catch this year, but I love hearing from you both what events and concerts you are on your, for sure, you're going to catch it list, because I know you can't be everywhere.
It's hard, but we want to be everywhere for sure. It's yeah, wish we could have scooters. I think two events that I'm really grateful that Sunbury Shores allows us to use their space for. It's such a beautiful art gallery to use. One is the drag brunch. So it's a second drag brunch that we're going to be putting on this year. Last year's was received very well, so we're really excited to bring in two performers this year. So it's going to be Frida Wales and Tinky Dinky, which is fantastic. They're going to be doing some queer music trivia first and then some performances, and I'm so excited to see what they've got in store for us. And at that too, we're going to have some mocktails and cocktails available from Sydney, and Louisa's Tacos are going to be there too to feed you all of your brunching needs. So I'm very excited. And then on that Sunday, we're going to move right into the environmental fair right after in the afternoon. So I'm very excited for that one. That one I think is now our 6th or 7th annual environmental fair. So that environmental fair gives NGOs and other local environmental organizations a chance just to talk with the regular folks in the community. And I think that's so useful because so many times I have conversations with people who want to get involved or who want to, you know, volunteer with folks, but they just don't know where to start and they don't know who to call. And I think of this as a way for folks to find what they want to do this summer, find that volunteering that really speaks to their heart, whether it's through the Nature Trust of New Brunswick or the Conservation Council. There's lots of great organizations doing fantastic work, and there's going to be a book reading as well and some trivia by the Nature Trust, so I'm really excited for both of those.
And you are a wealth of information, I should say, to people at home. When it comes to questions about just this area in general, seeking you out for advice is worth people's time. Luke, I need to know, what are some of your not going to miss it this I know you're not picking favorites, let's say,
Right.
but just a few that you'd like to shout out that you will definitely be at.
Yeah, it is hard to choose. I mean, yeah, like I said, over 40 artists. Really excited for an artist that's coming in, Juliana Riolino, who is a really incredible songwriter, performer. She's actually on tour with City and Color and then flying in just for Paddlefest, so we're pretty lucky to get her. She's on Thursday night at the main stage along with local favorites, the Hypochondriacs, and an emerging artist from northern New Brunswick, Sam Malaise, who's a Francophone artist. Yeah, and on that note, a lot of emerging artists from New Brunswick and the Maritimes. I'm really excited to present a band from Fredericton, El Tauda and Los Tacaricos, who are sort of a mix of Latin music and hip hop and jazz, so really eclectic mix. They're on Saturday afternoon. Yes, just so much. We have some great songwriters playing at Honey Beans, Julia Cunningham and Carlene, Bobby Dove, Lawrence Maxwell, lots of really great emerging voices that I think are, you know, if you're looking for something a little more intimate, and that's kind of part of the programming is to have that mix. You know, if you want to go and rock out at the main stage, you can do that, or you can go to a little more intimate show, or you can just go to some of the free programming, what's going on at the restaurants, like I said, the community stage. So lots of different options for people, but yeah, it's hard to choose, but those would be some of the ones I'm hoping to get a minute to check out.
And that's right, like you said, that the town itself is just a venue for Paddlefest. I remember interviewing Joel Plaskett the first year I worked here at CHCO. I interviewed Joel Plaskett at Paddlefest, and he said he loves playing events like this because in a small town, that's what's going on. Everybody knows that's what's going on, and that is what the town is doing. And he said it's just the most amazing feeling that everyone's on board. And he's like, you hear the songs at night from every corner of town. But what is the feedback you get from these artists that, like you said, are traveling from across the country? Yukon Blonde from BC, flying in to play Paddlefest and leaving. What's the feedback of why they keep coming back?
I mean, I think, again, very small festival. We're pretty modest size, and we're very, we're volunteer driven. We have such amazing volunteers that kind of are the lifeblood of the festival. And I think that the artists see that. They see the passion that we have for doing this in a small community like this, and the kind of the unique way that we take it over. Whether or not it's bands staying at the Algonquin or at Salty Towers, Seaside Beach Resort. They really get kind of a unique accommodation opportunity. Or they might eat at a local restaurant, or they might get food from, Honeybeans usually makes some food for our artists. So it's really incorporating the community into the festival experience for the artists, of course, for all the people coming, but for the artists too. So that's I think an important reason why they enjoy the festival. They see the kind of dedication that the whole community takes on to present this event and kind of kick off the season for the town.
And on that note, lots of local sponsors, lots of local volunteers. How do people, be they a business or organization or just a person who wants to help out, become a part of Paddlefest by offering either sponsorship or volunteer hours?
I mean, yeah, it's pretty incredible. I always say it takes a village, and it literally does, because we have over 50 sponsors. Most of them are St. Andrews-based sponsors or New Brunswick-based sponsors, if that. And it's really they're essential to keeping the festival going. And it's so important. I couldn't. We could do a 2-hour show, and I could name them all, but I won't do that. But yeah, no, we would just want to thank all of our sponsors for sure. Especially, big sponsors like Explore St. Andrews and Waterfront St. Andrews and the Chamber of Commerce, and, people like Quadrilink Marine and Debbie Grant Real Estate and J. Donovan Law Group have been really, really instrumental in supporting Paddlefest and our year-round concert series. So a special thank you to all of them, but of course all of our sponsors on various levels, because they really help make the festival happen. And if anybody wants to get involved, they can contact us. And that's of course for sponsorships, but also for volunteers. Brian Goggin is our amazing volunteer coordinator, and he does, there's multiple kinds of roles for volunteering as well, if that's a way that you want to get involved. And we still, we're pretty good for volunteers, but we could always use more. So if anybody does want to come and help out last minute, especially with setup and tear down on Thursday and Sunday, that's always a big one. So always looking for helping hands, and that's a great way to help out, maybe get to know us and we get to know you, especially if you're new to the community. That's been a great thing over the years. We've had people that are new to the community. It's a way that they've kind of felt like they've met people or incorporated themselves more in the community if they've moved here recently. So that's been great as well.
So we should talk tickets. I know that you mentioned that there are free events that happen throughout the town, which is wonderful for those who just want to partake that way. But when it comes to getting a festival pass or tickets for individual shows, is it in person, online? What's the best way?
Yeah, online is the best way. So you can go to our website, or you can go to paddlefest.ticketpro.ca. And we are sold out of a few shows. So the Adam Baldwin show on Friday is sold out, and the Yukon Blonde show is sold out. But there are still some main stage passes, which will get you into the main stage in Market Square. It's the weekend, so 4 days of programming there. Those are available. And we do also have a Periwinkle Pass, which is named in honor of Jamie Steele, aka Dr. Periwinkle. And that gets you into all the smaller shows. So if that's more your speed, is to go to shows at Sunbury Shores and Drew Haven and Honeybeans and Huntsman, there are those passes available as well. And then of course passes for all the individual shows are still available, or tickets, sorry, I should say. So people can go to our website and check out the schedule. Lots going on, and like we said, there's a mix of ticketed events, and some of our events have a cost, but a lot of the events are free or low barrier, and a lot of free programming as well.
And the same is the same for the events that you're taking the lead on, Dani. Tickets online too?
Absolutely. So if you go on our website, on our activities page, you can see which ones that you need to register on. There's, I think, 3 that have a cost associated with it, and the rest of them are free, and you don't need to have tickets even to any of the shows to come to an event. So tell your friends, feel free to come out.
I know that we are taping the show days away, just days away from Paddlefest. You just both look well rested and very happy and cheery. I am sure you're running on a low amount of sleep though. When do you start planning 2027? Is it a week after that you get started? How much rest do you give yourselves?
I feel like you don't give yourself much.
I try to give a couple days, and then but it is nice to start kind of thinking of it while things are fresh in your head, and what you can improve on, and what worked, what might need some fine tuning, I guess. But yeah, no, it is definitely year round, and we have a great committee of individuals, different people from the community of different backgrounds and skill sets that kind of we meet throughout the year and plan the festival. So yeah, it is a year-round event. So yeah, special thank you to all of them as well, because yeah, it like I said, it takes a village, and we couldn't do it without all the help that helps make it possible.
Well, in the final minute of the show, I'll leave the last words to you. Are there any last words you'd like to share with the audience about Paddlefest 2026?
I'm just excited for folks to come out and really be involved and sign up for things. I would say, go through our website, read our brochure, see what piques your interest, find a friend, even come out to an event and find a friend. There's always so much going on, like you said, and I know you mentioned it's a great way to meet people, and I'm so honored that you say, I'm the person to come to with a question, because I moved here 10 years ago and would have never thought that this would be something that I'd still be involved with 10 years later, but it's a fantastic space to, I think, spend a weekend and find a really lovely community along the way.
And Luke, any final thoughts before we close out the show?
Yeah, I mean, thank you to Dani, who does an amazing job with the events, and again, our committee. It's become a really special weekend for St. Andrews for so many different reasons, whether or not it's people coming for music, whether they're coming for events or coming for the Wharfbound Run, or a lot of people, it's the homecoming. They come and whether from away or they just have ties to St. Andrews. It's really just a great opening for the town for the season, and that's something that's really special. And yeah, it's all thanks to people like Dani and our committee that really make it happen.
Well, thank you both for being here today, and thank you for always kicking off my summer with Paddlefest. I appreciate it so much. My guests today have been Luke Macdonald and Dani Deonarine from Paddlefest, which takes place May 14th to 17th in St. Andrews by the Sea. I'm Vicki Hogarth. Thank you for watching Southwest Magazine.
Southwest Magazine is a news and public affairs production of CHCO Television.